The Holy Gospel according to St. Matthew, the 7th chapter, beginning with verse 7.
Glory to you, O Lord.
Ask, and it will be given you. Search, and you will find. Knock, and the door will be opened for you. For everyone who asks receives, and everyone who searches finds. And for everyone who knocks, the door will be opened. Is there anyone among you who, if your child asks for bread, will give a stone? Or if the child asks for fish, will give a snake? If you then, who are evil, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father in heaven give good things to those who ask him? The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, O Christ.
Congregation, please be seated.
Our sermon text this day comes from Psalm 69. So I will read the odd verses, and I invite you to respond with the even verses. Save me, O God, for the waters have come up to my neck.
I sink in deep mire, where there is no foothold. I have come into deep waters, and then the flood sweeps over me.
I am weary with crying. My throat is parched. My eyes grow dim with waiting for my God.
More in number than the hairs on my head are those who hate me without cause. Many are those who would destroy me, my enemies who accuse me falsely. What I did not steal, must I now restore?
O God, you know my folly. The wrongs I have done are not hidden from you.
Do not let those who hope in you be put to shame because of me. O Lord God of hosts, do not let those who seek you be dishonored because of me, O God of Israel.
It is for your sake that I have borne reproach, that shame has covered my face. It is zeal for your house that has consumed me. The insults of those who insult you have fallen on me.
When I humbled my soul with fasting, they insulted me for doing so.
When I made sackcloth my clothing, I became a byword to them.
I am the subject of gossip for those who sit in the gate, and the drunkards make songs about me.
But as for me, my prayer is to you, O Lord. At an acceptable time, O God, in the abundance of your steadfast love, answer me.
With your faithful help, rescue me from sinking in my mire. Let me be delivered from my enemies and from the deep waters.
Do not let the flood sweep over me, or the deep swallow me up, or the pit close its mouth over me.
Answer me, O Lord, for your steadfast love is good. According to your abundant mercy, turn to me.
The word of the Lord.
Glory to you, O Lord.
I hurt myself today to see if I still feel. I focus on the pain, the only thing that's real. The needle tears a hole, that old familiar sting. Try to kill it all away, but I remember everything. What have I become? crown of thorns upon my liar's chair, full of broken thoughts that I cannot repair. Beneath the stains of time, the feeling disappears. You are someone else. I am still right here. What have I become? My sweetest friend. Everyone I know goes away in the end. And you could have it all. My empire of dirt. I will let you down. I will make you hurt. If I could start again, a million miles away, I would keep myself. I would find a way. That's a hard song to hear, isn't it? It's tough. It's written by someone who was obviously so immersed in being alone in their pain. So alone, so in need of some sort of remedy that they turn to the needle. But it doesn't help. They remember all the pain still. And that's kind of where we find our psalmist today, David. So, have you ever been on vacation, been with your family, go to a picnic or whatever, and you're having a great time, and you just want to capture that memory, and so you take pictures. I love to see family pictures, and because it reminds me of, oh yeah, that's where we were, and that's what we were doing, and I felt this way. I felt happy. I felt fun, whatever. We were having a good time. And so that picture is sort of a snapshot that captures the emotion. And that's what the Psalms are. They're moments in time captured in words. And they give us a snapshot of what that person was feeling or thinking. And so we get a snapshot today of David in the midst of Great Depression and grief. One of the things that this reminded me of was the stages of grief. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross wrote, a book on death and dying, and in it she listed there are 5 stages. There's denial, there's anger, there's bargaining, there's depression, and then there's acceptance. It's a phase everyone goes through during grief that it's predictable, and you can jump back and forth between phases, but everyone goes through these 5. And we find David in Psalm 69 in the midst of depression, I think. That phase where what's the point? I can't find any relief. The image he uses is drowning. He's stuck in the quicksand and he can't get a foothold. He's just sinking. Or the waves are washing over him and he can't catch his breath. Have you ever been in that place? Have you ever found yourself grieving a loss or a hurt, and you just can't think straight anymore because all you can think about is the pain. That is the depression that David is going through. And in America, in Western culture in general, but especially in America, we don't want to think about that. We don't like to think about the grief. We don't like to think about the pain that comes with it. We like to say, well, it's been a month. I guess I should get back to work, put on my brave face, and move on. Not realizing that until we work through that, we're not going to get past it. We're going to be stuck. But we like to tell each other, oh, it'll be okay. You know, it'll be fine. But we can't get past it. One of the things that reminded me of was there's a book that Desmond Tutu wrote called The Book of Forgiving. Desmond Tutu was the one who spent so many years in prison in South Africa because of his fight against apartheid. And so he wrote this book, and in it there was a good quote that kind of speaks to that desire we have to just move on. He says, when we lock our stories inside us, the initial injury is often compounded. If I tuck my secrets and my stories away in shame or fear or silence, then I'm bound to my victimhood and to my trauma. So when we choose to take that path of holding it back, we risk adding more pain to our lives. So not only do we have the pain of our depression and our fighting with the grief, we now have the added pain of not speaking it, not sharing it. But one of the things that's amazing about the Psalms, and about songs in general, songs are not written to be kept inside. This person who wrote this song, Hurt, didn't write it simply for the sake of saying, I've written down my pain. It was written to be shared. So in the writing and in the singing of this song, the author shares their pain with the world. And the same is true for the Psalms. David did not write this psalm of lament so that he could say, good, I wrote it down. He wrote it to be shared, and it was sung by the Israelites. This song of lament was sung, and so the pain was shared with the community. And in that sharing, something wonderful happens. There's actually brain science behind all of this. The centers of the brain that trigger when physical pain is felt is the same centers of the brain that trigger when emotional pain is felt. So if you find yourself with a gash on your arm or something, you feel that pain, are you going to just let it be? Are you going to say, well, it'll be okay eventually? No, you're going to go to the doctor and stitch that up. You're going to get that healed by the help of other people. The same goes with emotional pain. We want to hold it inside because we think, well, I can take care of this. It'll get better after a while. But wouldn't it be better to take that pain to somebody who can help you to heal? The same author, Desmond Tutu, in this book writes, sharing our feelings in community, in relationship, allows our hearts to start the healing process. When we share and don't sugarcoat the hurt, we get a special gift. Telling the truth prevents us from pretending that things that happened did not happen. How we begin is by first letting the truth be heard in all its rawness, in all its ugliness, in all its messiness. So that psalm that David writes to be shared helped to dissipate some of the pain that he felt. And that's kind of where our exercise comes in today with the stones. We are at a place where take out your stones and think about when I first started talking about hurt and about things that happen in our lives maybe. Did you think of something in your own life that was a hurt or that was a grief for you? When we do youth group and Kid Peace Pals, we share highs and lows. So for your kids, think about a low. Remember when we share highs and lows? Think about a time that was a low. And for us, think about those things that we grieve. And here comes the trusting part, the hard part. Put your pain into this stone and share it with someone else, your neighbor. It can be a spouse, it can be a family member. You can walk around and share that with one another. But say, this is my pain, or this is my low. That's a big step. But we are surrounded by a community that has been gifted by God with love and grace and forgiveness. So, as you share those stones, and as you receive the sharing of another, remember that you are in a community of love and a community of grace. And as you receive someone else's sharing, remember that our response is not to try to fix. Our response is to just say, thank you for sharing, or I'm with you. So take just a few moments and share with your neighbors. Thank you for sharing. The challenge with this is that first step of actually speaking the words. Once the words are spoken, then God's grace opens up into this wonderful world where we know we're not alone and where we know it is safe to share. I think of Christ on the cross. He was alone hanging up there, suffering. He cries out, my God, why have you forsaken me?" But he wasn't alone, because at the foot of the cross was his mother and James and John. And so he was able to speak that loneliness, but it was heard by others. And so we're never alone. Because of the gift of God through Christ, we are given a community where we can share. And as we share, the pain can start to dissipate. It may never go away, but it will always be less, as we know we belong to one another in community. And so I want to close with a devotion, a poem, and I'll use that as the closing prayer for this message. But another thing I'd like you to do with these stones, take them home with you, the pain of someone else, and pray over that. Remember that this is someone has shared with you, and it's important. So pray for that person by holding this stone this week. Now the act of seeing begins your work of mourning. And your memory is ready to show you everything, having waited all these years for you to return and know. Only you know where the casket of pain is interred. You will have to scrape through all the layers of covering, and according to your readiness, everything will open. May you be blessed with a wise and compassionate guide who can accompany you through the fear and grief until your heart has wept its way to your true self. As your tears fall over that wounded place, may they wash away your hurt and free your heart. May your forgiveness still the hunger of the wound, so that for the first time you can walk away from that place, reunited with your banished heart, now healed and freed, and feel the clear, free air bless your new face. Amen.